Hall of Famer John McClain with us. 365 Sports. John, as you know, it's Halloween. We have had a candy tournament bracket. A bunch of candy was put on our set. I just randomly went by a convenience store and bought 50 pieces of candy. We're down to M&M peanut M&Ms, and Reese's, what do they call it? Peanut butter cups. That's the final. Which of those two would you pick?
First of all, I like both of them, even though I'm trying to stay away from them. But, boy, to me, you can't beat the Reese's. When I was growing up in Waco, my favorite was Payday and a peanut patty. But as I've gotten older, I think, even though I love M&M's peanuts, M&M's plain, you can't beat that Reese's Pieces.
Oh, yeah. Reese's Pieces. Okay, all right. So what is this NFL against the University of Houston copyright merchandise infringement? What's going on there?
NFL properties, they are always worried about people infringing, making money that the league can't make. And I remember one year, there's a former Oilers safety, Bo Eason, who's an actor and a screenwriter, and he was putting on a one-man play called Run of the Litter. And in his one-man play, it took place in a locker room, and that locker was Columbia Blue since he played for the Oilers. Hold on a second. I got a cough. Bear with me.
Okay. John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist with us. 365 Sports, Sikkim 365 Radio.
And so I found an Oilers jacket. It's a heavy coat like you would wear in the winter in Cleveland, and a pair of Columbia Blue cowboy boots. And I bought them at a Round Top flea market for like $50. And I asked Bo, would you like to put that in the background in your play? And he said, yeah. So the Oilers, before they could let him do it, had to call the NFL for clearance. The NFL wouldn't clear it. And I told him, well, why don't you do it anyway? Just don't put any pictures out. So he did it. And I don't know if they ever shut it down or not. I don't think they did. But they're sticklers for that. Even if the Oilers said, I want them to do it, doesn't mean you're going to get to do it. Same way with the Titans. One of the things U of H did, it was first game of the year. They did a really cool video narrated by Carl Lewis. And Rice did it, but they didn't publicize it. Well, Rice hadn't gotten any negativity from the NFL, but Houston has. I think what they should have asked them, and they contacted them like months ago, and the NFL said no, and they did it anyway. And so they sent a letter, cease and desist, do not sell anything and make any money off of our uniforms, even though they're throwback uniforms. So they should have said, can we do it one time to celebrate Houston's heritage of football? And maybe the NFL would have let them, but probably not. High schools wear Columbia Blue down here. And what U of H wore was off. It was not the color. As soon as I looked at the uniforms in a picture, I said, well, it's similar, but that's not what the Oilers wore.
Look, I'll tell you, I'm sure there's a bunch of fans in Houston that saw Derrick Henry and DeAndre Hopkins wearing those uniforms that are, now Texan fans, but were Oilers fans and maybe wept a little bit because that looked smooth. And they won, too.
They did. They hated it. They don't like the idea. Media doesn't like the idea. I don't know why, because I understand the Oilers were here, but the Oilers went to Tennessee. Texans have nothing to do with the Oilers. And so I thought those uniforms looked great. People, every time we talk about it here, they're ready to run me out of town. And the team won. DeAndre Hopkins caught 3 touchdown passes from rookie quarterback Will Levis, and Hop averaged 32.5 yards a catch. And they tied the Texans at a 3-4 record, second behind first place Jacksonville. So it just infuriates people down here, but I don't care who wears them. Of course, I'd like to see them worn here, but that was never an option. But I just want to see them worn. It was a reunion weekend up there. They had more than 100 former Oilers and Titans players, and all those players I talked to, Dan Pastorini and Robert Brazil and Bruce Matthews and Billy White Shoes Johnson, they loved seeing the Titans wear Columbia Blue.
All right, John, I've got a bone to pick with you. When you were on with us last week, we asked you about the World Series, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, and you, maybe because being soft-hearted for what we are as Ranger fans, you mentioned the Rangers because they knocked out the Astros, and the next day on Houston radio, you were bullied, and you just crumbled like a cheap bag of potato chips and said you wanted the Diamondbacks. I need answers.
When I was on the radio, nobody knew that I had said I wanted the Rangers to win. But as Seth Payne, who I'm on the morning show with, pointed out, and I'd forgotten about this, Brent Strom, the greatest pitching coach in Astros history, retired after the 2021 season, and then went to D-backs, was looking for his second World Series ring. Well, I love Brent Strom, and I said, okay, I'm going with the D-backs because I want Brent Strom to win his second World Series.
Well,
that's the backstory.
Well, that's good enough because you're a great human being. So
I was not bullied. I was not bullied into it.
All right. Well, I wouldn't think.
Look, Seth Payne's a big guy, so we get it.
Yeah, but you own Houston. You're the grandfather. You are the grand poobah. You are the what do they call it? What do they call now? When somebody.
I don't know, but I can tell you this: nobody down here wants the Rangers to win after the way the Rangers beat up on the Astros and Adolis Garcia humiliated their pitching, and I hate to see Garcia out tonight. It looks like Corey Seager will be the MVP if they win, as he should be, as Garcia was the MVP of the ALCS last year. Jeremy Pena was MVP of both. He had to squat this year at the plate, but Seager is, boy, every time he comes up, you expect a home run. How the Dodgers let him get away along with Trey Turner, it just blows me away.
Yeah. Me too, John. I mean, well, their loss is everybody else's gain, for sure. Now, the trade deadline was today. The biggest move, I guess, would be Chase Young going to the 49ers. I know that he's an impending free agent. Part of me feels like they'll figure out a way to get that done because they seem to be able to do those things. The Cowboys don't make a move. The Eagles traded for a couple of different guys. Kevin Byard, the biggest among them. Who made themselves better after today?
Well, I would think the 49ers, they've lost 3 in a row. They invest heavily in their defensive line. They don't even have a first or second round pick in their back 7. It all starts up front. They also have as a fifth wheel, Javon Kinlaw, who's the 14th overall pick about 3 or 4 years ago. So I don't know how they can re-sign Young if indeed they want to. There's a story out now, obviously leaked by the Commanders, that Young was undisciplined and he didn't follow the game plan, would blow his assignments trying to make the splash play and get a new contract. But his career is probably going to be rejuvenated. What I was surprised about, and I was just talking to my wife about this because she's a big Washington fan, is you get rid of 2 pass rushers because you don't want to pay them. And that's not a good sign for a new ownership group. And yes, they have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds. Doesn't mean they're going to know what to do with them. They're going to have a new head coach. Everybody knows that, so they might as well go ahead and keep losing so they get a higher pick. But they didn't want to pay both of them, which is kind of surprising. I could see let one go, but not both.
John, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
That's John McClain, Hall of Fame columnist, Baylor grad from Waco, Texas originally, and got into the business writing for the Waco Trib, and now has been with the Houston Chronicle, retired, now a part of Houston 610, and is a motherlode of great storytelling.
So Corey Seager